Hey. Just thought I'd wait another minute or two. See who joins. Got all my stuff. I'm gonna grab one more thing. Oh, I have it right here actually. Good morning. You made it live. Okay, let's get started. So, I'm just gonna go through the suggested supply list and just talk in depth about each item. And then I was just gonna talk about a few optional things if you feel like getting something else fun. Okay, so the first is needles. Really, you can use any embroidery needle. I like the DMC size 5 needles. They're easy for me to find and I like the size of them. So that's usually what I use. I was just gonna get these off here. But I know tapestry needles are also very popular. Ooh, that's a crooked needle. So if you're buying brand new, those are gonna be like your two best options. So this is a tapestry needle and this is a regular needle. So let me see if I can get that to zoom in. Hold on. I'm trying to show you, like the eye of this needle is quite a bit larger. You can't see that in the video, I'm sorry. But the eye of the needle goes from here down to here, where a regular needle only goes from here to here. So the space for your thread is quite a bit smaller. But the needles are almost the same size. A tapestry needle is slightly shorter. I learned using a number 20 Chanel needle. Yeah, that works too. Any needle, honestly, is gonna be fine. But the length is like barely, like this tapestry needle is the shorter one. So anyways, you can use any needle that you have, whatever feels comfortable in your hand. Tapestry needles feel too short to me and they're like barely too short. Barely shorter, but they feel short to me, so I don't love them. Okay, so fabric. I generally use the Kona cotton or Kona cotton. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. It's Kona cotton. It's a quilter's cotton. It's has a little bit of a tighter weave and it's a little bit thicker than just like your basic cotton. So it holds small stitches really well. It comes in 1,000 different colors. This is it. You can't see through it very well because of the weave. If you want to look back on some previous posts, I did like a close-up on them of cotton. I changed my mind. I told somebody I was gonna use white, but I'm actually gonna use this super, super, super light gray for my project. So you can see through it a little bit, but you can see like how tight that weave is. So that's what I'm gonna use. The other option that I really like is linen. You can see through this just a little bit more. It's a little bit looser, but the threads are nice and thick, so it's like good. It doesn't have too much stretch, like it's nice. I really like linen, but I'm almost out and I haven't been able to find like this is kind of like a bone or like an off-white kind of color that I really like, because then I can still do white on it. But I haven't been able to find it. So every time I go to Joann's, I look for it and I just can't find it. So whatever you want to use, go ahead and use. You could use patterned, you can use plain, you can use dark, you can use light, whatever you want to do. So I'm going to use gray in our stitch along. Okay, threads or embroidery floss. So embroidery threads DMC comes like this. Anchor just started to show up in craft stores around me, but they come on spools. At least they do near me. So I know Anchor is very popular like in the UK. DMC is really popular in the US. So I generally buy DMC just because it's easy to find. They're like 60 cents a skein. Skein? I call them a skein. But anyways, they come like this. So, yeah, I bought some yesterday and they were 60 cents each. So a lot of people will wrap on bobbins. The only way you'll see me with a bobbin in my hand is if like I inherited a box of bobbins. I don't do this. I don't like to. I know a lot of people like to. It's a nice storage system. I just don't want to. I don't want to take the time. So if you feel like doing that, they store really nicely like this, but this is how I store it. If I have extra, I wrap it around it. And then when it starts to get small, then I fold it in half and wrap it around it again. My system works for me. So do whatever works best for you. So embroidery threads they come like this. This is the end. It has like 6 little strands so that you don't have to use all 6 all the time. You can pull them apart and just use less. Once we start working, if you pull from the number end, then you shouldn't have knots like when you're pulling your threads out. You don't want to find, like if there's an end over here, don't pull that one. That's like the inside. So little tip for you. The older ones, like this is an old one. This is one I inherited that was like my mom's or something. This is an old one. The new ones are like plastic. These are paper. But anyways, these ones, it doesn't seem to be always at the number end. Sometimes it's up here like this one is. It's weird. But anyways, threads. The other thing is the pearl cotton thread. So pearl cotton thread comes like in like this, except it's like longer and it's like twisted. I didn't bring mine over here, but they also come sometimes in a roll like this. This is, I think, a little bit more than the long ones, but you can see right here this number 5. Sorry, it's backwards too, but you want to look for a 5 or an 8. I posted it in my stories yesterday, but in case you didn't watch them and in case they disappear, the lower the number, the thicker it is. So like a size 3 is going to be really like thicker. So there's like 3, 5, 8, 12. So I would say go with a 5 or an 8. This is what I'm going to use. It's number 414. It's the cotton pearl, but it's a little bit thicker. Let me get the end out so I can show you. So it's about the same thickness as like 6 strands of the regular thread, but these are all twisted up, and so it's gonna, when we do our Van Dyke stitch, it's gonna look really good. I tried doing a Van Dyke stitch with the regular cotton thread, and I really, really, really struggled because my threads kept coming apart. So this keeps them together and it makes your stitches look really nice. So if you can't find this, you can still do it. It just might be a little bit more difficult, which if you're up for the challenge, then have at it. But this is what I'm going to be using. So I got gray. Let's see. Okay, next is embroidery hoops. There is so many embroidery hoops available on the market. So many. Plastic, wood, bamboo, more plastic, tons. So I'm gonna show you what I like to use, and then I'll show you what other options are out there that you can use, but I don't suggest. So number one, bamboo hoops. These are inexpensive, they're easy to find, they come in all the sizes, from 3-inch up to like 12-inch. It goes like 8, 10, 12. Oh, I have a 9-inch actually. I don't think I've ever seen an 11-inch. But anyways, bamboo hoops, super easy to use. The only problem I have found with them is that sometimes they have like gaps. Like right here, you can see a gap between, you see that, how there's a gap there, but like it's tight down here. So that's the only problem. Hey, Whitney. But that's the only problem I have found with bamboo hoops is like they sometimes will have these gaps. So if you're at the store and you can see them, check your hoops before you buy them to make sure that they don't have gaps. If you buy online, sometimes I buy online and buy in bulk, and so I get what I get, and sometimes I'll just wrap like a piece of tape around the inside hoop, because then it won't show. So I'll just do like a little piece of tape on the inside right here, so it will like fill that gap. I also, if I can, I like to find like with a screw at the end. Some of them don't have that. Let me see. Oh, that one has one. That one doesn't. So that one doesn't, it's just flat, which is fine. It's not like a huge deal. I just like the screw because then I can use my screwdriver to tighten it. But that's not 100% necessary. So sometimes you'll find them with like the blue tape on them. That sucks to get off, but again, you can do it. It's just, ideally, I like to find some without the blue and with a screw. That's what I like. The other one that I love stitching in is these plastic hoops. The Yarnology from Hobby Lobby or the Loops and Thread from Michaels are my two favorites. So these they have a screw here so you can hold on to it if you want, but I've never had a problem just tightening this with my fingers. My internet connection, I guess, is struggling. But anyways, I've never had a problem just tightening these with my fingers. So what I like about these plastic hoops is the inside hoop has a groove. So you can see this, and it goes up into here. So it holds the fabric really tight, which is so nice. That's what you want. When you're doing embroidery, you want to be able to hold your fabric really tight. So I really, really like these. There are plastic hoops that do not have this groove. I will show you. They're cute, but this one was a thrift store find. But anyways, this one is not as bad as some of them that I've seen. But the only problem is that it's two like smooth pieces of plastic against one another. And so they don't get quite as tight. They don't hold the fabric quite as tight. So especially the new ones that are on the market, this one is an old one. It's like a vintage one. So it actually holds pretty tight. I've used it once for something, I don't remember what, but obviously I didn't care about this sticker. So this is decent if you can find vintage ones, but like the newer ones, like at Walmart, and actually I've seen them at Joann's as well, but they're a little bit skinnier. They're like half this size, and they're just kind of flimsy. Like they can almost like bend them. I don't know. They don't hold fabric very well. I would not recommend, but use what you can find. So Not that you can't, just that it might be a little bit more difficult. So the other options are something like this. These are like the faux wood. So this outside edge is flexible. So if your project is this way, then that's great. If not, you can turn and like make it wide instead of tall. Yes. Because this is flexible. So you can make it like wide or tall, depending on what your project looks like. My only problem with these is I don't feel like they hold tight enough to embroider in. I only use one piece of fabric. I know people that like double up their fabric and embroider through 2 pieces. These hold a little bit better. I like framing in these, but I don't like stitching in these. So that's totally up to you, whatever you want to do. I personally don't like stitching in these because I don't feel like it holds tight enough. So use at your own risk. These come in oval or round. So I'll usually I'll stitch in this. Well, not really. I'll stitch in this and then I'll frame it in this because the finished product looks fabulous. But when I'm like pulling my needle through all the time, it like pulls it loose and it drives me crazy. So these are Flexi Hoops. I forgot to grab my Q-snap. Hold on. Okay, so this is a Q-snap frame. They come square, but I bought a 6-inch and an 8-inch so that I could have a 6x8. It has these that just like snap on. So then it holds your fabric. This does not hold very tight. I generally only use these for cross stitch because I don't need it to hold as tight. So I'll do like my Stitch People portraits in them. If you're going to use these, I would say put another piece of fabric between these because like look how loose, like these just like roll around. So you put your fabric on there and you can tighten it a little bit, but it doesn't stay tight enough for embroidery, in my opinion. And these are like the name brand ones. They're not even like off-brand. Anyways, it's an option. It's just not my favorite option for embroidery. Okay, I think that's it for embroidery hoops. If you have more questions, let me know. Okay, so scissors. You can use any scissors, honestly. Like, use your kids' little craft scissors. Like, those will work. Sometimes I'll use fingernail clippers in a bind, or if I am like out and about and I forgot my scissors, like you can use anything you want. I really like embroidery scissors because they're sharp and they're small and they're cute. So I have this cute little pair. I think this one came from Hobby Lobby. So these are fun. I have another pair that are like iridescent, like butterflies. Anyways, I couldn't find them, but you can find the cutest embroidery scissors. Like get on Etsy. There's so many out there, or go to a craft store. There's tons of cute, if you want something cute. I got these at Walmart. So they're a little bit bigger than embroidery scissors, but they're really sharp and I like them for like trimming fabric. So I use these a lot. Plus they're a little bit bigger, so I don't feel like I lose them as often. I have to have multiple pairs because I lose them all the time. But embroidery scissors are not 100% necessary. If you have some, cool. If you want to buy some, cool. But you definitely do not have to. I also have really nice like fabric scissors because cutting fabric, anyways, that's also not totally necessary, but it does cut fabric real nice. Okay, so last thing is a fabric pen, pencil, or marker. There's tons of options out there. I'm gonna share my favorites first, and then I'll show you a few other ideas. So my number one go-to is these Pilot Friction pens. So this is a clicker pen. They have like stick pens as well. They are So they're friction erasable, so heat erasable. So like this is a rubber end. So if you're drawing on paper and then you erase with this end, it creates heat and it erases the lines. So if you draw on your fabric, then you can run a hot iron or a blow dryer over it and it will erase the lines. The only problem is these can leave ghost lines. So you don't want to be like scribbling all over and then not stitching over it, because then you'll be able to see the lines. So try and keep all your stitches on the line. I've never had big problems. I mean, they're not perfect, but I like them best. They also have Pilot Friction markers. So these are the same. So it has like the rubber end. It's got like a fine tip marker. I really like these. These are my top two that I always go to. They come in color or black or whatever. So that's what I generally always use. One thing I've noticed is if my ink is getting low, then it puts out, I feel like, more of the like erasable ink and it's harder to erase. So if your ink starts running out, just throw it away. Just get a new one. Like don't keep using it. Okay, so other options are water-soluble marking pencils. This is white. You can get them in like blue and purple as well. I don't like getting my embroidery wet after I've stitched because I feel like it pulls my stitches loose, which bugs me. So I generally avoid water, but if you're not scared, water-soluble marking pencil, this can just be found in the quilting aisle or something like that. People use them for like quilting. So anyways, there's that. There's also water-soluble markers. They're usually blue or purple. I don't have any of those because I had one and I hated it, so I threw it away. But that is also an option. They're pretty cheap. They're like $1. So if you find one of those and you want to use that, you totally can. Yeah, that's an option. The other thing that I have found is these mechanical chalk pencils. So this lead is chalk. So these are nice for like dark fabrics. So like black or navy blue. This one's Fawns and Porter, but there's another one that starts with a B. It's like red and cream. Anyways, there's a couple different, but if you look up like a mechanical chalk pencil, that's what this is. The only problem is it's chalk, so it's gonna erase when you start rubbing it. So just beware if you're drawing on like a detailed pattern that this is sometimes not the greatest. But it's an option, and that's what I use if I ever do dark fabric, which is pretty rare. It is out there. So there's also like the sticky solvy. You like press it on your fabric and then you wash it away. I have personally never used it because I just don't like to get my embroidery wet. Like I don't wash my pieces when I'm done. So that's an option out there. I'm trying to think if there was something else I've thought of. I don't know. There's other things out there if you find them. Okay, so that's our list. Some other items that are kind of fun to have, but not necessary. So I really like needle minders. So my friend made me this. This is me holding an embroidery hoop. And it has a magnet on the back. So it's got one magnet here and then one magnet here. So then you put it between your fabric and then it holds your needles for you. So like this would be on top of my fabric and it will hold my needle for me, like in my hoop. So that's kind of a fun little thing to have. There's tons of options on Etsy. Like so many options if you ever want to go searching for a fun needle minder. So that just holds your needle so it doesn't get lost. Like if you're finding another color or cutting fabric or running to help your kid get a snack or whatever. These are fun. Another thing is an embroidery hoop stand. Totally not necessary, but they're fun to have. I really like mine when I'm doing a lot of chain stitch or French knots or something. So this is mine. I have it folded so it can be on my table. So it's a floor one. So if I raise this up, like it would be big and I could sit with it like at the couch or something. But then it just holds your hoop there. So you don't have to hold it in your hand. So you have two hands to do embroidery. 100% not necessary, but it's fun to have if you've decided you like embroidery and you want to do stuff more often with using two hands. That is out there. So that's what I'll be using while I'm stitching on camera. So then my hoop is not moving all over. My hoop will stay in the same spot and my hands will move. All right. I think that's all. Oh, I always like to have, this is a screwdriver that came with our thermometer. This comes out so it can be a flathead or a Phillips head. And it's like the perfect size. It's just my favorite screwdriver ever. But anyways, screwdriver or pliers. I keep both of these on my craft desk. Like I use these all the time. So if it doesn't have a screwdriver end, then I use this to tighten my hoop because I want it to be really snug so that it's not pulling my fabric funny while I'm stitching. So these are good. Not necessary, but I highly recommend having something to tighten your hoop instead of just your fingers because sometimes it just doesn't get quite tight enough. So I will save this. I will do like a whole series with all of our videos. Feel free to ask questions either on the video at the bottom or send me a direct message. I will go live on Friday to transfer our pattern. My 4-year-old just has preschool on Tuesdays and Fridays, so I thought that would be easiest. And then it gives people plenty of time if they still want to buy the pattern before we transfer on Friday. So get your supplies. Let me know if you have questions. Come back Friday. We'll get our patterns on our fabric. And then Monday we will start stitching. I am planning on 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time for 2 weeks. Monday through Friday only. So Saturdays and Sundays will be catch-up days. This is going to be a little bit more labor intensive than some of the previous stitch-alongs. So if this is your first one, welcome. It's going to be fun. But if you've done them in the past, plan on homework. I mean, I don't think I'll be stitching the whole thing on camera. Also, if it takes us longer than the 2 weeks, so 10 days, it might take us a little longer. I'm hoping it doesn't, but if it does, just know it will be fine. But I'm hoping 2 weeks that we can finish it, but we'll see. If we need more time, we'll just keep going. So anyways, I will see you on Friday, and thanks for joining in. See ya.